There's been a lot of buzz lately about a new tax break for seniors, something folks are calling a senior bonus. It's a proposed deduction that could let people 65 and older subtract up to $6,000 from their taxable income, on top of the standard deduction. For married couples, that could mean $12,000 total, which sounds like a pretty sweet deal. But like anything coming out of Washington, it's not as simple as it seems. There are income limits, phase-outs, and a temporary timeline that could affect whether this actually helps you or not. Let's break it down so you can understand what this senior bonus really means, who qualifies, and what's at stake. First off, this is a new kind of tax break, a bonus deduction aimed at reducing your taxable income. If you're retired, maybe living on Social Security, a pension, or some savings, this could make a real difference. The key is your income. If you're an individual earning less than $75,000 a year, or a married couple with a combined income under $150,000, you'd likely qualify for the full $6,000 deduction per person. That means the IRS would tax you on a smaller chunk of your income, which could save you a few $100 when you file your taxes. For a lot of retirees, especially those on fixed incomes, that's money that could go toward groceries, medical bills, or just a little breathing room. Here's where it gets interesting. This deduction stacks on top of what seniors already get. If you're 65 or older, you already qualify for an extra standard deduction, about $2,000 for individuals and a bit over $3,000 for couples. This new $6,000 would be added to that, giving you an even bigger break. Lawmakers are pitching it as a way to help older Americans keep up with the cost of living, especially as prices for everything from gas to prescriptions keep climbing. But not everyone's going to see the full benefit, and that's where things start to get tricky. The deduction comes with a catch called a phase-out. If your income goes above $75,000 for an individual or $150,000 for a couple, the deduction starts shrinking. The Senate's version of the bill uses a 6% phase-out rate, which means for every dollar you earn over the limit, you lose 6 cents of the deduction. That might not sound like much, but it adds up fast. If you're just over the threshold, you could see your deduction cut significantly. For example, if you're a single retiree earning $80,000, you're $5,000 over the limit. At a 6% phase-out, that's $300 less of a deduction. Earn a bit more, and it shrinks even further. So, if you're close to those income limits, you'll want to keep a sharp eye on your numbers. Even if you're under the income threshold now, things could change down the road. Retirement income can be unpredictable. Maybe you've got required minimum distributions from a 401k or IRA kicking in, or you pick up some part-time work to supplement Social Security. Those extra dollars could push you over the limit without you even realizing it. That's why some folks nearing retirement are already thinking strategically, maybe delaying certain withdrawals or adjusting their income to stay eligible for the full deduction. It's not always easy to predict, but a little planning could make a big difference. There's another wrinkle to consider: inflation. The cost of living keeps going up, and if your income rises to keep pace, you could accidentally phase out of the deduction over time. The income limits, $75,000 for individuals and $150,000 for couples, aren't currently set to adjust for inflation. If they stay fixed while prices climb, more and more seniors could find themselves earning just enough to lose the benefit, even if their actual buying power hasn't improved. Advocates are already raising this concern, pushing for the thresholds to be tied to inflation so the deduction stays relevant. But as it stands, that's not part of the plan. Another big detail: this deduction isn't permanent. It's set to start in the 2025 tax year and run through 2028, just 4 years. After that, it's gone unless Congress votes to extend it. Why the time limit? It's a budget trick. Temporary tax breaks look cheaper on paper when lawmakers are trying to balance the cost of a big bill. But it creates uncertainty. Imagine you're retiring in 2026, building your budget around this $6,000 deduction, only to have it disappear in 2029. That could mess with your plans, especially if you're on a tight fixed income where every dollar counts. Some experts are already saying it's smart to use the deduction while it's available, but not to bank on it lasting forever. It's more like a limited-time offer than a new standard. And here's the thing: this senior bonus is just one piece of a much bigger tax package. Some are calling it Trump's big beautiful bill, but not every part of it is good news for seniors. For example, the bill includes changes that could hurt hospitals, especially those serving low-income patients. Right now, States use something called hospital provider taxes to pull in extra federal Medicaid funds. The Senate's version of the bill lowers the cap on those taxes, which means states could get less federal money. If that happens, hospitals in rural areas or places with lots of low-income patients might have to cut services, delay upgrades, or even close. If you're a senior who relies on a local hospital for care, that could mean longer drives or fewer options. Never a good thing when you're trying to stay healthy. Then there's the issue of work requirements. The bill tightens rules for programs like Medicaid and SNAP, which provide health coverage and food assistance. Seniors are mostly exempt from these requirements, but the changes could affect younger adults, like caregivers, adult children, or neighbors who help you out. If they lose access to these programs, it could create ripple effects. Picture a multi-generational household where a grandparent lives with a working-age son or daughter. If that younger adult loses benefits, it could strain the whole family's budget, including the seniors. These kinds of trade-offs are buried in the fine print, but they're worth paying attention to. So, who's likely to benefit most from this deduction? If you're retired, 65 or older, and living on a moderate income, say, Social Security plus a small pension or savings, this could be a real help. It's not going to make you rich, but a few $100 in tax savings can go a long way. If you're still working or have a higher income, the phase-out might mean you get little or no benefit. And if you're already paying little to no taxes, like many low-income seniors, this deduction might not change much for you. Some advocates argue a tax credit would be better for those folks, since credits directly reduce your tax bill or even result in a refund. But that's not what's on the table right now.